Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Hey there, friends. Welcome back to Daily Dose Radio here in the Bible Bistro, your home for Craft Bible Study. That's right. We have a sign right out there in the front that says Craft Bible Study this way. So come on in, sit down, grab yourself something hot or cold to drink, whatever you choose. And today we're looking at Psalm 126, verse 2. Verse 2 really continues the thought that we had in verse 1 at the end there. We were like them that dream. Verse 2 begins with the words, "Then was our mouth filled with laughter and our tongue with singing." So you see the theme of rejoicing pops in right now in verse 2. And we're going to have it again in verse 3, and we're going to have it in verse 5, and we're going to have it in verse 6. It's just all over the place because we are so excited, so overwhelmed with the goodness of God. He turns again our captivity. He turned us from Meshach in the tents of Kedar. He's brought us back. He's bringing us back to the city of Zion, to the heavenly Jerusalem. We are turned because God has done that work, and when He turns us, we were like them that dream. We were just surprised that it was real, that it was really happening. Then was our mouth filled with laughter and our tongue with singing. John Mason Neal compares this to the naming of Isaac because Abraham laughed at the overwhelming promise of God that he just could not believe could happen, he and Sarah. And so when Isaac was born, they named him Laughter. And so when this deliverance comes, this turning the captivity comes, laughter comes right along with it because you just can't believe it. It's just so amazing, so overwhelming that God would do this good work for His people. And He does. Our mouth was filled with laughter, our tongue with singing. We go on there in verse 2. Then said they among the heathen, the Lord hath done great things for them. Now you notice that we have a quote here. The heathen are speaking, and what do they say? They say, the Lord hath done great things for them. That's one thing for the church or the people of God to say, God has done great things. The Lord hath done great things, right? I mean, that's a great testimony, and it's something that we ought to say. But here, it's more than that. The Lord hath done great things for them is a thing that the heathen say. They don't believe. They're still in Meshach, in the tents of Kedar, but yet they see what God has done by turning the captivity like that and bringing His people back and doing a good work and healing and restoring and standing in the breach and, all the rest for his people. And the heathen look at that and they say, the Lord's done great things for them. Now, it doesn't change their condition, but it does testify to the work that God is doing. And the heathen, all along the way, have said those things about the people of God. Just remember what Rahab the harlot said to the spies. She said, we know that God is with you because we remember how He brought you through the Red Sea. They saw what God had done, and they saw what God did to the kings in the east. And Rahab said, our testimony is we see what the Lord is doing. However, Jericho was still destroyed. It didn't change the fate of anybody in Jericho except for Rahab and her family. But here we have their testimony. The Lord has done great things for them, and that testimony is true. Now, tomorrow, we're going to look ahead to verse 3 just real quick because we have then their testimony that follows the testimony of the heathen. The Lord has done great things for us, and we'll talk about that tomorrow as we look ahead, as we move on into this psalm. All right, so join me then here in the Bible Bistro for some more Craft Bible Study on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.